Hello, aspirants. Welcome to Insights IAS initiative. Let us begin by wishing all the viewers a very happy and a safe festival. I know what you're thinking. Another current affairs series on YouTube? You're probably wondering what is so special about ICANN and why should I tune in regularly? Well, let me put it this way. ICANN won't be just another watch and forget series. We are here to help you connect those dots in your answer writing and newspapers, which probably you would never thought ever existed. And also, this would give you a good competitive edge in your exam. So, buckle up. Regular attendance is not just a suggestion. We can say it's your ticket to answers that actually stand out. As it's our first session, let us brief upon what to expect from our series. We'll see how it's going to be useful for you. This would also follow by some suggestions as in how to make the best use of the series with a few examples for the day. So, ready for the tools? So, let's come to the first segment, as in why this series is going to add value to your preparations. So, as you know, we are in an age of information technology revolution. Right? So, there is no dearth of sources for preparing for general studies, especially the textbooks for usual preparation. Gathering this is definitely not a difficult task. So, every aspirant who prepares for the exam studies the same sources like the Hindu newspaper, Indian Express, Yojana, Kurukshetra, in addition to a plethora of standard textbooks. So can we safely say that the fundamental knowledge is nearly identical across the candidates? I mean to tell that most of the candidates get access to the same resources, they get access to the same editorials, and the way they use them in their answers would be the same. So that is the reason why most of us get almost similar kind of scores in our GS paper, 4 papers especially. So what gives your answers the edge? It is nothing but the little extra efforts you would like to put in your daily readings, those unique insights, some thoughtful examples, and an in-depth note-making that reflects a personal understanding of the issues at hand. For example, let's say we get a question on critically examine a particular government scheme. For example, we had got such a scheme in 2017 with respect to an act of the parliament called Persons with Disabilities Act. So let's say for such questions, if we add a fresh perspective, give certain international comparison, some unique case studies we have read in some newspapers, comparing it with some historically significant event or some historical evidence that had a similar pattern, it could definitely make your answer memorable for the evaluator. So once you learn this analysis and understand the current topics and newspapers from this perspective, your personality test also would be more interesting, as your mind would automatically relate to interconnecting between the topics. If you get a particular example or a news article in your current affairs, how this single article, which usually it is perceived to be given from various syllabus in many sources, you yourself will be able to analyze as in how a single news item can be used in all the 4 GS papers with different perspective as the particular paper demands. Let's say, for example, there was a very popular documentary made from India that also won Oscars in last 2 years probably, called The Elephant Whisperers. So as we have known, Elephant Whisperers is a case study about Mudumalai Tiger Reserve, where there is a community called Kartunayakan tribe. So these Kartunayakan tribes are worshippers of elephants, and the whole documentary is a small summary of how the Kartunayakan tribe contributes to the benefit of conserving elephants, taming the wild elephants, harnessing and taking care of young elephants who have lost their families. So this documentary made a lot of sensation in the social media as well. So if we take to use this documentary in our exam purpose, let's take for example GS paper 1. So this documentary actually mentions about the close-knit lifestyle that a tribal community is having and how closely their life is associated with the forest, and the way the tribes feel the pain of getting detached from the elephant whom they have tamed for quite some time. So this feature of tribal's life completely entangled around the forest is one of the features of the tribal population that is definitely a source of question for our GS paper 1. So we have already seen many questions related to problems faced by the tribals, or what are the unique features of the tribals that make their existence challenging in the present times without proper support of the government. So in this context, giving the suggestion or giving the example of Kattunaikan tribe and their role in Mudumalai sanctuary is worth quoting. Now let us discuss the same topic from GS paper 2 perspective. That is, we have a topic called governance here, where many tribal schemes and many government schemes need to be analyzed from both positive and negative ways. So as we have seen, Government of India follows a integrative pattern of tribal policy, where the government believes that we need to give the basic necessities to the tribals without making by making an attempt that their unique culture and diversity is protected. So this case of Kattunaikan tribe, where their livelihood basically is about integrating with the nature, is protected, at the same time making them partners with the forest department to conserve the elephants is a, like one arrow and the two bird kind of set feature, where you are spending money on giving employment to the tribals and protecting the environment together. So it's a win-win model, not only for the government but also for the tribal upliftment. So in such cases, the case study of Kattunaikan tribe is worth mentioning. So if this is clear, we can go to the paper 3 perspective. That is, as we know, paper 3 is directly related to the topic of conservation of environment, and there is no doubt the model of using tribals in forest conservation has always been a great success. The Jenukuruba tribe in Karnataka, Idu-Mishmi tribes of Arunachal Pradesh and their role in conserving tigers is not an old story. So when we are aware of these kind of models, the world popular example of elephant whisperers, the Kattunaikan tribes being a part in conserving the elephant sanctuaries in South India, is a very unique example to even start your answer with. Let's say you get a question on man-animal conflict as well. This model is a worth emulating one. At the same way, GS paper 4. So this topic again is related to the empathetic ties that humans share with the environment. So as we know, humans are always been very close to the environment. There has been many historical sequences where humans have worshipped the nature, and nature being a part of humans' daily existence. So the empathetic bond that always existed between the mankind and the nature is slowly weaning out due to increased cases of urbanization, consumerism, modernization. Hence, the story of getting connected back to the nature, going back to the source of life, that is nature, is something worth mentioning in our paper 4 answer sheets. So in this manner, we would like to give you more perspectives on a small topic that may be in news. So if you would have read in the newspapers about this particular documentary winning awards at the international level, but if we analyze the topic properly, we know how useful this is going to be for our exam. So just one more addition to the same news. If you have known, both the producer and the director of this movie are women. So again, an industry where there's a lot of stereotyping against women, this documentary making international record is something worth mentioning in GS paper 1, Indian Society, Women Issues and Women Organizations. How to make the most use of the ICANN initiative? Let us make it very clear that this journey requires not just viewing the video, but also actively participating in it. So let us walk this extra mile together is what is the meaning of this. Okay. So I'd like to suggest every one of you to focus on making running notes, because every day when we discuss some kind of topics which are very value intensive, you need a lot of analysis that goes into it. So providing a written material or a PDF format would not do justice to the whole purpose of doing the ICANN initiatives. So let's say there's a small suggestion as in how to make notes with respect to ICANN initiative. So as we know, there are 4 major GS subjects in addition to our essay papers. So we are going to make notes out of all of this in separate category. Right? So you will be involving in the technique of active note making so that you are concentrated completely on the video, not getting distracted by any other information if you sit with a book and a paper or any digital note making. Okay, so let us say we have 4 GS paper. Let's name it GS paper 1, GS 2, GS 3, GS 4, and this would be your essay folder. So as we know, this particular 4 papers are further divided into subtopics, like we have Indian society here, we have population and associated issues, we have topic related to poverty, we have issues on social empowerment. In a similar pattern, all the GS4 papers have subcategories. Let us say, as you have just seen in the Elephants Whisperers case study, the same topic we are discussing, but every 4 GS papers, you're noting down the information with different perspective. So let's say you're noting down the same Elephant Whisperers from paper 1 perspective, you'll note it down under salient features of Indian society, that is gender biasness, where the role of women producers and directors would be very aptly suiting. If you're noting down here in the tribal society concept, you will be noting it down from the perspective of forest and the tribal association, as I have just mentioned. In the same manner, in paper 2, governance topic, you will take the note. In paper 3, you will take it note under conservation. Paper 4 under topic of empathy. Right? And when it comes to essay, let's say any information or any topic related to sustainable lifestyle, let's say the importance of forests or the importance of traditional knowledge system, Elephant Whisperers would be a apt story. Correct? So in the same way, let's say there is some initiative related to health infrastructure. So we often discuss the health infrastructure of Delhi, or let's say, for example, the education system that has been put in place in Delhi government, which has brought in many unique ideas like, happiness curriculum. They have a happiness curriculum. They focus on mental health of the students. There's a program called as Business Blasters in Delhi education system. So this is giving us a unique model of education suiting the present times. So if you are noting this down in the class after discussing in the session here, you may note it down under education in this section. At the same time, role of education in molding ethical values, where happiness curriculum will tell people about mindfulness, minimalism as a concept. So this single topic, as we go on discussing, you should simultaneously be able to note it down in the considered papers. Right? So this is how you can make the best use. And trust me, over a period of time, when you develop this analysis, and many times in ICANN, we also will be giving you an open-ended question where you will have to suggest us the other dimensions that will be used in the answers, so that this group will be a peer learning activity. We will learn from each other, and our experiences are going to enrich your preparation as much as possible. Hence, please make it a two-way process. Though it is an online initiative, I would like all the viewers to participate in large numbers so that this session will really be able to contribute to your whole growth. So there is a very popular proverb that tells that give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. So when you take notes with the dictation part here, or when you take note when the discussion is going on, you will be active. And once you listen to it, once you write to it, and you have noted it in your own words in effective manner, this will make your revision very easy as well. So the entire process of UPSC, the keyword or the secret behind is nothing but effective way of revising the same substance multiple times rather than having multiple sources for a single subject. I hope this is clear for all of us. So the intention is to put you through the thinking loop and help you develop the analytical and interlinking skills. So as it's our first day in the class today, let us take up just 2 topics for discussion and make sure you are accustomed to the way we are going through in this entire process. So we'll be having basically some important news like this that is covered in the newspapers. So not necessary that we are going to do the editorial stuff every day. It would not be in such a pattern where we will cover every single important news article that comes up. That is not the purpose of ICANN. The purpose of ICANN is to pick up those neglected parts of the newspapers which would bring a very unique and fresh perspective to your answers. So let's say, for example, there was a news in yesterday's Hindu newspaper regarding the demise of Mrs. Rohini Godbole. So her life story made up an article in Hindu which was definitely worth inspiring. Okay, so we'll see now as in what is the idea from her lifestyle we'll be learning and how we will use this in building an answer. And I would also give you a question that you would like to attempt and let us know your thoughts on what would go into this answer if you are getting this question in GS paper 4. Shall we start? So about this newspaper is about the passing away of Ms. Rohini Godbole, a precious scientist that India has lost. So this article was discussing about how it was challenging for her in the earlier days of her career to make a space for herself in the STEM system. So as we know, STEM stands for science, technology, engineering and medicine, which is a domain that is usually reserved for men. Traditionally reserved for men. And this is something we call gender division of labor. Again, the application of it is in GS paper 1 as well. So, this field was considered to be a male-dominated field. So, based on the above article, let us say we get a question in ethics. Like, you can also take down the question. It is discuss the role of scientists. Discuss the role of scientists in promoting social equity. Social equity. That is, we already know the role of scientists in providing us many new inventions and discoveries. But at the same time, we have a very popular quote by Gandhiji that science without humanity is a sin. So if we are expecting a question on this ground in a pattern of social equity as a responsibility of the scientist, the life of Rohini Godbole would be apt. So if you just like to analyze, let's see how all we can use this topic, and just basing on the article that had come up in Hindu, we'll take down some important, ethically important terms. So from her life, we can definitely learn about commitment to excellence, that is, Professor Godbole's achievements is basically in the field of particle physics. So she has shown her unwavering commitment to scientific excellence. And how this is special, because despite the challenges, especially in the male reserved field, she had persevered through the entire process with high energy and made sure that dedication to one's field is bound to give great success. So this is definitely a good quality of a leader as well as a scientist. Second important quality from the article that we can learn is her contribution to knowledge and society. Knowledge and society. So if we see, her major experiments are with respect to Higgs boson research, it is mainly about expanding human knowledge, embodying the ethical value of advancing science for betterment of society. So this definitely aligns with the ethics paper's focus on professional responsibility and service to humanity. Right? We have a topic with respect to professional ethics as well. Fine. And the third quality that is unique to her is the advocacy of gender rights. Advocacy of gender rights. So there was a mention of a book called Leelavati's Daughter. Leelavati's Daughter. So this book was co-authored by Miss Godbole in her efforts to promote women in science and technology. So it is not like she alone was a fighter in the system, but was always a source of a role model and an inspiration for women to break down the barriers and create inclusive spaces for themselves in the workplaces. And as we know, as a professor, she was also a mentor in many theoretical researches, and many individuals who have taken the guidance from her show the empathetic side of Ms. Godbole, who has always been passionate about talking to young scientists, mentoring them, speaking about gender equality, putting in the idea of aspiration among the scientists, thus motivating the peer to rise above their own standards. So this is what the role of a leader is. And ultimately, the fifth and the most important feature of her as a scientist was social responsibility. Social responsibility, that is, as an academic and researcher, her commitment to truth, integrity in scientific research, transparency in communicating scientific challenges, upholding ethical ideals of honesty were standing out in her entire career. So there is no doubt that her life story reflects a blend of intellectual greatness, integrity, social responsibility, and also empathy. So these are definitely the terms which the evaluator will be looking for when you're writing a GS paper 4 answer. So any question related to science and technology in paper 4, or let's say the role of public servants. Scientists are also coming under the category of public servants who serve the society through the knowledge system. So in such cases, they have a major stakeholding in being socially responsible. So please mention the example of Rohini Godbole in your answers with respect to paper 1 as well as paper 4. Right? So going to the next segment, as we had promised to cover the information making rounds on social media, that is some viral reels and information, and how to use this in our answers, right? So this is not quite a recent development, but definitely an information or a kind of social media reel that became quite popular a few weeks ago. So it was about an IIT professor, Mr. Chetan Singh Solanki, who was wearing a torn socks in a 5-star hotel. Okay, so you can see this in the image. So hence we have titled this as the theory of torn socks. So I think all of you would have seen this if somebody is active on the social media. So this is nothing but a person whose personal life is being intruded by many public activities or social media activist. So just as the professor was sitting in a 5-star hotel, this image was not only making a lot of news, it was made viral by many people trolling the individual here by criticizing him and accusing him that despite of sitting in a luxurious 5-star hotel, the individual is not caring about wearing a decent socks and has worn the tall clothings. So after the individual was trolled really badly by the social media, he came up in defense by telling that, yes, I have worn a tall socks, but it's my mistake. I can definitely afford one. But can nature afford the same? Can nature afford the same was the question he posed to the public. So in a present world, when the world is driven by the idea of consumerism, we are seeing that many times we end up buying those goods which is not even required for us in daily life, just because it is available either at 50% discount or there is some sale going on during festivals. So we indulge or in buying in something that is called as impulsive buying. Impulsive buying. It means that buying those goods which we don't even need currently and buying it just because it's coming at a cheaper price. At a time when the world is running towards this kind of ideas, having a person like Mr. Chetan Singh Solanki is definitely something that's a fresh perspective. That is, there is a very popular concept that he has tried to highlight here called Earth over Shumte. That is, as we have heard Gandhiji tell that Earth is enough for everybody's need, but not for anyone's greed. Correct? So in such a scenario, when we are trying to buy products, even we are not using it to a great extent, we are doing nothing but over-exhausting resources. Over-exhausting resources, there'll come a time when Earth will be falling short of this and the world would not be in a position to come to terms with it. Hence, the example of this person or Mr. Chetan Singh Solanki wearing the torn socks is definitely an eye-opener for the entire young community and the whole world, where we need to be a lot responsible in our behavior when it comes to being a public person. So let us just analyze what are the ways in which Mr. Chetan Singh Solanki inspires us in multiple GS papers. Correct? So, as I've already told, it's a very good example to quote in GS paper 1, that is Indian society, or we have a specific syllabus called Globalization and its impact on Indian society. So, in this syllabus, we can talk about consumering becoming a byproduct of globalization and how people like Mr. Chetan are an inspiration for Indian citizens not to become victim of consumerism. Correct? And also, it is useful in the topic of sustainable development. But before that, there are some good ideas, we can use by it, where the professor has promoted minimalism. Minimalism is a good concept and not an old concept for India probably. So this idea aligns with sustainable principles, that is choosing to wear what one already has rather than, going for new products and advocating the idea of reducing waste, making most of existing, resources. So this philosophy challenges the societal norms that equate personal worth with material possessions. Correct? That we usually judge people by the material thing and not by the knowledge or lifestyle they live in. So this is definitely an eye-opener by giving the distinction between materialism versus knowledge or ethics. And the second most important idea is, as he is a professor, he is definitely an inspiration for multiple people. So we can definitely use his example for lead by example. That is, if you want somebody to follow certain principles, you follow it yourself and the public will definitely take the same path. So his actions actually exemplify how professionals can integrate sustainability into their lifestyles, inspire others to think critically about their own habits, and broader implications of this will be on the choices that people make. So the best part of all this news was nothing but the public got to discuss and debate about the issue. That is it really worth to have so many positions or to lead a simple lifestyle, which is a better option? At the same time, it also highlights the connection between personal and planetary health. Correct? Personal and planetary health. This is where our sustainable development as a concept pitches in. So if you remember, Government of India is promoting a scheme called LIFE, where the government basically tries to nudge Indian people to reduce their carbon footprint. Correct? So why we are doing this? Irrespective of all the large-scale schemes like MOEFCC, or let's say United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change and effects, let's say there is a pact related to plastic that is coming up. All these are international efforts, governmental efforts to make sure we move towards a sustainable planet. At the same time, without individual efforts, any of the movements may not be truly successful. Hence, lifestyle for environment is a campaign Indian government has started to focus or to encourage Indians to focus on their lifestyle and be as having low carbon footprint as possible. So this example is definitely a very good use in our answer sheets. Though very few newspapers carried the reports on him, this was making a lot of news, and we are sure that evaluator would appreciate utilizing the examples like this in your answers. So I think that would go a great extent when your answers are a little different, though the concept explained by you and the other aspirants are same. Your examples, when they are unique, it would give you definitely a few marks extra. And just imagine these few extra marks in every of your answers, in every of your GS papers, would definitely make sure that you have a good edge in your exam. So coming to the last question of the day, that is ICAN all you need? That is ICAN enough source for you to prepare for UPSC? So as we know, ICAN's main intention is to boost the mains preparation and your interview preparation. That is giving you multiple perspectives for your personality development as well. So we might not be able to integrate the prelims idea as well here, but definitely many a times when we discuss the articles of the constitution, we discuss certain acts of the parliament, we speak about certain species that are in use. So if you are good at making notes from whatever is discussed in the class, definitely this would serve your purpose for prelims, mains and interviews as well. But make sure you use ICAN in addition to your regular newspapers or in addition to your regular current affairs sources. Let ICAN supplement your preparation and make it a unique experience in itself. So I hope this initiative has really helped you. Let us know if you need anything else in our sessions from now on. And do try to write the answer for the question given with respect to the scientists and the role in social equity. We will also post a model answer in the upcoming class so that you can compare your answers with what is explained. Let us have an interesting two-way journey here by strengthening each other's knowledge base. Hence, thank you. Stay tuned. On Monday, meet you again with more informed news and more information from newspapers. Thank you once again.